you really hate Sean Combs.
Why would they be thinking that?
Because of the things that you post on Instagram,
Yeah,
because of the...
Look at this. And let's stop for a second and do say that I hated him enough to hire his kids. And we've never done anything to each other. So it's just competitive energy and things that you say about other artists while you're in hip-hop.
With Combs Enterprise, they come in and they work and they don't get paid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're gonna build up to it real quick,
Yeah, so he was able to sell that footage to whomever he chose. The question is, how did anybody know about it? Like, that's the thing. Like, that's the part that, it's so funny because people they get so excited. But when you've got a lawyer like Mark Agnifilo, who is orchestrating your possible surrender, because as you heard him say in the beginning of the documentary, he was very clear. It's almost the middle of September and there's no indictment. As you heard Diddy say, I've been an exemplary client like you've asked. You said I've been an excellent client. I came here. I did everything you asked me to do. Mm-hmm. That's what they're literally having this conversation.
Yeah, in that conversation, Diddy was worried about the outlook of the public versus the victim.
The outlook of the public? Oh, he was worried a lot more than that. You don't think? He literally sat there and said, we need comms. She's sitting there talking like an evil dictator. We need comms. We need a way into this conversation. We're losing, he said. We're losing. Losing what? What are you losing? But the key words that he said that were so important were, we need to be able to be speaking to the potential jurors. He said, you might only be the guy that watches CNN, but there's 9 billion people in the world, and 7 billion of them are on Instagram or TikTok. We need to have control of that. He said, we need to know how these potential jurors... It was done too well. It left out too many things.
So can you speak on Curtis Jackson? 50 Cent said that this is the first one. He said that there's hundreds of hours of more footage.
I'm sure there was hundreds of hours of shit that was confiscated from all of Diddy's homes in that HSI raid that never made it to the trial.
If you were watching closely, you likely caught the same glaring gap I did in 50 Cent's documentary, and you weren't imagining it. While the project smashed viewership records, Jaguar Wright says it didn't deliver everything that was promised behind the scenes. According to her, a sensitive list of well-known public figures was quietly stripped from the final cut, a move she claims was made to avoid friction with powerful interests tied to the platform. What raises eyebrows even more is her assertion that 50 Cent himself agreed to those removals. This, she says, is the roster viewers were never supposed to hear about, and she's standing firm that proof backing her claims is coming soon.
Here's the list they didn't want you to see, and the proof is coming.
Melissa Ford just did an interview talking about how Hype Williams brought her out. Now, mind you, she's a video vixen, and it seems like the girls that used to be part of the music videos have stories to tell.
They should. They're all sex workers. And if they weren't, they felt like it when they went home.
Said every room in Diddy's mansions were wired with cameras. And he had some of the footage, he had some of the pictures, and he displayed those in the lawsuit that came out. And this was used for blackmail material. They'd bring in these people. A lot of these people were also aspiring young artists in the music industry. And then these parties were sponsored by Motown Records CEO, Universal Records CEO. This goes all the way to the top. And so you get these people in compromising situations. The drinks were laced. The videotapes were hot. And then at the end of the day, you wake up the next morning, what did I do? And then they have compromising material on you. And then they can guide your career. They could kill your career, but they got you. And it wasn't just people in the music business. As you said, there were athletes, there were celebrities, there were politicians, people from the royal family. And we were also told by the former bodyguard that Diddy was an FBI informant.
Jaguar Wright begins by turning attention to Beyonce, a name she says has quietly drawn questions for years. She argues that her concerns surfaced long before 50 Cent's documentary reignited discussion by hinting at figures left out of the final release. According to Wright, Beyonce was not simply on the sidelines of elite circles connected to Jay-Z and Diddy, but present during moments that later sparked serious debate, followed by efforts to control how those moments were perceived. She suggests that after her marriage to Jay-Z, Beyoncé's career accelerated at an extraordinary pace, earning top honors and industry acclaim, while unresolved stories from the past remained buried. In this framing, the documentary casts that success in a sharper light, pointing to long-suppressed narratives that Wright believes were intentionally kept away from public scrutiny.
Just as evil in your opinion? Has she done things you know of? Is it more Jay-Z in your mind? What is the...
I know a lot of things that shameless hat has done, but her greatest sin is vanity. And I'm going to say this about you now, baby. Everybody who knows you are dumb as a sack of hair. Truth is, if it wasn't for your singing and your dancing, you would have never been anything more than a shampoo girl in your mother's shop. You ain't got the common sense of a damn dog.
But that's not criminal.
Huh?
It's not criminal. Is there?
No. I'm going to get you there.
Oh, I see. She's just too dumb to know what she's in for.
No, she's just dumb enough to be down with whatever's going on.
Okay.
She's probably one of the most least empathetic people I've ever.
Jaguar Wright pushed her claims into the national spotlight during a televised appearance with Piers Morgan, saying she was finally bringing forward long-buried stories tied to Beyoncé and Jay-Z that she believes were deliberately kept out of public view. While representatives reportedly issued a cease and desist aimed at the broadcast, no defamation lawsuit ever followed, a silence many saw as a calculated move to avoid amplifying the controversy. Online reactions moved fast, with commentators pointing out how unusual it is that Jaguar Wright has openly criticized powerful industry figures for years without facing formal legal action. For many observers, the absence of lawsuits, settlements, or visible consequences has only sharpened interest, reinforcing the idea that taking the matter to court could invite far more scrutiny than keeping it contained.
You make yourself vulnerable to all kinds of attacks, seen and unseen. What happened to my friend? When he passed away, there was $250,000 on my head and $150,000 on his. But what if I had decided to go back with my head held low and said, Sean, I'm willing to play the game, and then found a way to get inside of him and move him around.
Platforms. The reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as there's something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invite her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyoncé during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with a legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored, but like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too, and we apologise to Jay.
Another figure repeatedly pulled into the conversation surrounding Diddy is Naomi Campbell, whose long-running association with him stretches back nearly 20 years. Her name resurfacing has reopened scrutiny of the elite circles she has moved through, especially her proximity to other powerful figures who later became the focus of major investigations and public controversy. While no direct misconduct has been established, the pattern of repeated connections has kept questions alive about influence, access, and the environments she occupied at the highest levels of fame. That ongoing curiosity has ensured her name remains part of discussions many would prefer to quietly disappear, but instead continue to grow louder over time.
Especially the awful son wanted me to be in jail, and I'm not saying what my behavior was correct. I think that everyone during this period of Terminal 5 madness was upset and irate, and I guess I just took it.
Naomi Campbell's history with the legal system has only added fuel to the ongoing debate around her public image, sharpening focus rather than easing it. From a highly publicized conviction in the late 1990s tied to a workplace confrontation, to a series of later incidents that repeatedly placed her at odds with staff and authorities. These moments stacked up during the same era her association with Diddy became more visible. Observers have long noted the timing, questioning how these parallel paths unfolded side by side. Despite multiple court appearances, Campbell consistently avoided jail time, receiving penalties that kept her free. Even less than a year before the widely reported search connected to Diddy, Naomi Campbell once again faced a court hearing over a clash with a photographer, ending in a suspended sentence, another chapter that allowed her to walk away unconfined as legal pressure continued to follow her career.
All know Naomi has a temper. Today, the 45-year-old supermodel was found guilty in a Sicilian court for assaulting a photographer. She was given a 6-month suspended prison term, so she escapes the dreaded orange.
If Naomi's controversies sparked concern, Demi Moore adds another unsettling layer to the discussion. A longtime associate of Diddy, Moore has come back under scrutiny after old footage resurfaced from a birthday gathering involving her and a significantly younger co-star from General Hospital. The clip, which circulated widely online, shows conduct many viewers now describe as crossing professional boundaries, triggering renewed criticism years after the fact. Although the moment itself is decades old, its reappearance has reignited hard questions about responsibility, influence, and how certain behavior was once brushed aside inside powerful entertainment circles, adding fresh intensity to an already heated conversation.
The greatest, and I'm putting in a buck.
Thank you.
Okay, one more time. Somewhere over the rainbow.
Why do you think everybody's come out?
I don't know. Maybe just because I love them all and I hope they all love me. We do love him, and I love them.
If you think it's for the pure publicity, you're out of your mind.
Absolutely, because he's one of my most favorite people.
How long have you been working on the show?
Almost a month and a half.
What's your role?
I'm Makes Me Laugh. Now I'm Philip Tanzini, and I play Jeremy, and you're stealing my part. I'm sorry.
We're moving on to interview number 2 here.
Oh, okay. Because I love Philip, and he's the only one I love. Do your interview already.
Ashton Kutcher, in love with Mila Kunis on that 70s show. Then they break up for absolutely no reason after he starts hanging out with Diddy. Then he marries Demi Moore, who drained him of all the adrenochrome she can, and apparently he replenished himself by doing inappropriate things with their daughters. I'm sure you're...
The most revealing part of Demi Moore's story is rooted in the painful childhood she has openly recounted herself. In past interviews, she described growing up in unstable conditions where a parent failed to provide protection and instead exposed her to environments that placed her at serious risk far too early in life. Moore has spoken candidly about being pushed into situations no young person should ever experience, and about the lasting emotional weight of maturing without security, structure, or guidance. Those disclosures add a heavy, deeply human layer to her story, offering crucial context to her later struggles and casting a sobering, more complex light on the controversies that followed her into adulthood.
Moore, she revealed in her memoir that she was at the age of 15, writing that her mother let the user in their home. Well, today, Demi talked to Howard Stern more about this on his Sirius XM radio show.
You say you pushed it away. You don't need. You just
I
recently.
pushed it away because I felt like it was my fault. Like that I felt like I had behaved in a way that was
provocative
and mature, like I really knew a lot. And I never really looked at myself as being a kid. And so I never looked at it as, I saw it as an unfortunate and,
Yet he forced you into it.
I was very embarrassed by it. in all honesty, I think that the shame I carried because of the made me afraid to feel I could comfortably express myself sexually.
It makes me just remember the conversation that I had with her where she talked about the purpose of her writing this book was to share her story in hopes that it would empower other young women. She did talk about a lot of other things to Howard Stern. She said she auditioned for Top Gun, obviously didn't.
One of the most closely watched exits unfolded in 2024 when Ellen DeGeneres stunned audiences by announcing she was leaving the United States and relocating overseas, a decision that came shortly after a widely reported law enforcement action tied to Diddy's Miami property. While no direct link was confirmed, the timing alone ignited intense speculation, which only intensified as observers noticed Ellen also shedding her signature blonde image. By settling in England and signaling a permanent reset, she appeared determined to step away from the growing noise and scrutiny dominating headlines, a move many interpreted as a deliberate effort to create distance from a volatile public moment rather than remain caught inside it.
Losing their mind.
She sounded so sincere, didn't she?
Very sincere.
Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files.
Yeah.
Files. Come on, Donald Trump. We want to know whose name.
So maybe she's hightailing out of there before all that is thrown at her as well. But what a bunch of hypocrites.
Ellen DeGeneres and her wife, Portia de Rossi, have reportedly fled the US, bound for the UK, after Donald Trump's landslide victory. Numerous publications are reporting the couple have left the United States permanently. There are also reports the couple have put their Montecito mansion on the market. Entertainment publication The Wrap has the exclusive story and said Ellen DeGeneres and wife Portia de Rossi have moved to rural England, put their Montecito estate on the market, and plan to never return to the United States, telling friends the election of Donald Trump was their primary motivation. Ellen DeGeneres has been a vocal Trump critic, so the move doesn't come as a surprise to most.
Really bad. If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
Ellen DeGeneres has been seen rocking a new hair color since moving to the UK. The comedian changed her signature blonde look to brunette as she was seen enjoying a night out with friends at a pub called The Farmer's Dog. Ellen went out with her wife, Portia de Rossi, and a few friends, including the Torn singer Natalie Imbruglia. Sources told TMZ earlier this week that Ellen and Portia moved to England because of Donald Trump's re-election. They have reportedly settled into their new home in the southwest region of England, but they purchased the property before the
What adds even more intensity to the moment is Ellen DeGeneres' sudden reappearance after previously signaling a long-term move abroad during a period of heavy scrutiny. Her return comes just as the legal narrative surrounding Diddy began to shift, a timing that immediately caught public attention. While no official explanation has been given, the abrupt reversal has sparked sharp speculation, with many questioning whether this comeback reflects changing circumstances rather than a simple personal decision. The coincidence alone has reignited curiosity, pushing observers to wonder if both the departure and the return were strategic moves shaped by a fast-changing public landscape rather than chance.
Weinstein, Oprah, Epstein, he was running with that whole crew. They want to know how we're going to do it, how the public is going to take him. Is the public going to let him back in? And the public is not. The public is already canceling him. I don't believe the industry has canceled him yet. All those people who went to those Diddy parties, not one of them had came out and denounced what he has done. I haven't heard one of them. I have not heard one person denounce, well, man, let God handle it. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here with that. If that was your daughter, would you let God handle it? All those people, they ain't denounced him. they ain't definitely, they can't come forward and say, yo, I support them, because it would mess up their brand. It would mess up their brand. Jay-Z, we the only one could call each other Sean. Jay is the only one could call me Sean. I'm the only one could call him Sean. Get the hell out of here. If that ain't no fun boy stuff. But you ain't had not one person, brother, not one person sit there, denounce what he did, or come forward and say, I support him.
We will have lost this moment. I think this is a moment where no matter what business you work in, there have been women who not only had the disease to please, that's a part of it, but who felt that in order to keep my job, in order to keep my position, in order to keep moving forward, I've got to smile, I've got to look the other way, I got to pretend he didn't say that, I got to pretend he didn't touch me. I think those days are about to be over.
Are over. And if it happens to you back in the day, you would say, sometimes you're not even aware what he just said wasn't really inappropriate.
I know you've had a couple moments.
Where you just think, what did he just say?
Yes, I remember Gail had a moment when she came and said to me what somebody said that was so inappropriate. I was like, oh my God, you can sue over that. But
no, and all I said was, what did you say? And then they repeated it.
Yes.
Terrible. I just sat there typing with my 20-something-year-old.
Pretend you didn't hear it.
Yes.
You pretend it's okay. You pretend you didn't.
No, it isn't. You're right, Jeff. You're absolutely right.
But a lot of women have been silenced, and I know.
But I think it's going to change.
Being a victim of child sexual abuse, that when you feel like you cannot be heard, and then other people start speaking out, it makes you feel like, oh, now I can speak out too.
Yeah. So, and you've been speaking about it for a while.
For a year.
One of the most high-profile names now seen creating visible distance from Oprah Winfrey is Diddy, and the pattern feels familiar. Oprah's history of associations with powerful and later controversial figures, including Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein, is well documented through public appearances and widely circulated photos. Yet once Weinstein's actions were fully exposed, Oprah moved quickly to redraw the narrative, repositioning herself as removed from his inner circle. That swift recalibration underscores how influence often comes with the ability to manage optics, pivoting public perception when scandal erupts while unresolved questions about past proximity remain quietly in the background.
P. Diddy, what do you think is going to happen with all that now?
I knew a lot of people who knew Jeffrey Epstein, like a lot. I never met Jeffrey Epstein, thank God. I certainly knew a lot of people who knew him, and like a lot, like more than 10. Jeffrey Epstein was not considered like some far out sinister figure in the world that I lived in. I mean, I'm just being totally honest about this. He was like this kind of interesting guy who had this kind of rotating salon at his house off Fifth Avenue in New York, and there was always the Israeli prime minister and former presidents and like just interesting people, I did not understand what that was about at all. And so when he died, I was like, oh, poor guy, off in prison. And then I got a call from his brother just randomly, and his brother said he did not convince him. Was really shocked by that, and I thought maybe his brother's crazy. So this set off a multi-year journey for me that really changed my views about a lot of different things. And the bottom line is Jeffrey Epstein was, and not only murdered, but he was murdered in the most secure federal lockup in Midtown Manhattan in the country. And so what is that? What is that? Think about that for a minute.
3 days after Oprah publicly supported victims of sexual assault in the wake of numerous allegations against Harvey Weinstein, singer Seal Instagrammed this meme showing Winfrey kissing the disgraced mogul. It reads, when you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution.
Please welcome Seal!
The 54-year-old who's appeared on Oprah's show captioned his post, "Oh, I forgot. That's right. You'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serially assaulting young starry-eyed actresses. My bad." While Weinstein maintains his innocence, Seal hasn't commented further, and Oprah has not responded.
This moment is a really powerful time for everybody to get woke.
Fans have come to her defense, pointing out Winfrey is a sexual survivor. They also posted pics of Seal's ex, Heidi Klum,